It's green for go. They're racing.
He says go.
He says ta-da.
And Tiger Tara roars away from them on the home turn.
Here comes another big boil over.
Equine athleticism at its best. The king is in the castle once more.
This is in one race. The rest are almost in another post.
She is a star with a capital S. It's going to be a triple treat, a miracle three-peat. Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed history here at Menangle. What about that?
It's getting right up on the sprint lane and it's going to bolt in.
Hello and welcome to the Sunday session. My name is Greg Hayes and it is great to have your company again this week. I don't know if it happens as you get older, but I'm feeling the cold a lot more this winter and the cold snap across the state is really biting for sure. Let me tell you, I feel for all of the trainers out there who are working their horses out in this weather, bitterly cold with snow falling in several areas of New South Wales. So a massive pat on the back for all of the participants who are tuning in this weekend to the podcast. Of course, I'm here for Harness Racing New South Wales, and this offering is part of the Sprint Lane podcast series. The Menangle Angle is back with Jess and Wano, and it was great to hear them catch up with David Thorne during the week to have a chat about his well-bred filly Senses, who powered away for victory on Monday. Just while talking about Wano and Club Menangle, what about that huge effort from the track team to make sure the meeting was run last night? Huge effort. I saw Wano put out a track walk on social media on Saturday, and it sounded the track really solid underfoot, and it proved and raced that way despite the amount of rain. So well done to all concerned with the Menangle track. Where do we start this week? I think it's probably best to start with a Eureka update. We have confirmed another runner, so the fourth piece of the puzzle is now in place. Fighter Command will represent Tas Racing after winning the bow tie at Hobart on Saturday night. He didn't just win, he destroyed his rivals. Of course, he won the race last year, booked his spot. I spoke with Greg Sugars about that win on the podcast, and then in the lead up to the Eureka, the horse was struck down with a twisted bow, and he had to be scratched from the race, and there were some concerns he wouldn't pull through, but Greg and Jess Tubbs looked after him and nursed him back to health, and it's great to see him back at his peak, and it's heartwarming. And after what Jess has been through this year, Jess Tubbs has been through, I think everyone will be cheering for Fighter Command when he takes his place in the world's richest harness race. And well done to Jimmy Herbertson going down to drive the horse for Jess as well. I'm wondering whether Bernie Hewitt's Royal Cruiser has done enough to secure a spot off his win at Albion Park last night. He wasn't that far off the track record held by Leap to Fame. He races well at Menangle. He's won over 2,600, so the long trip to 2,300 isn't a problem, and he's a natural leader. Our goat, his stablemate, ran a quick time early in the card, so Bernie's got a couple of horses pushing for a slot. Team Zav, they had Wardan Buddy win the first at Menangle, and I'd have to think he's the leading chance to get that slot. Aaron Bain and Summit Bloodstock, they'll go with an Emma Stewart runner. They've got that connection. Wayne Loader is very close to the Hewitt camp, but was in discussions elsewhere. Kevin and Kay Seymour, they've got a few options. The Tab and Cordina slots will be interesting. I'd be going with Royal Cruiser. He's got the speed to lead the race. You know where he'll be in the run. And if there are no moves like last year, then he'll be extremely hard to run down late. Interesting times coming up in the Eureka as horses and connections start negotiations with slot holders. Congratulations to Will Rickson. He scored his 800th career winner when Rikiro Blaze won at Menangle for Anton Galino on Saturday night. Good young driver, has improved so much over the years and sits on top of the New South Wales State Premiership as well. Who's on the podcast this week? Well, I thought it'd be best to speak with Cam Hart after he drove 3 winners at Menangle. The most attention was on one of his drives that wasn't a winner, Bay of Biscay. Now, it finished third in the free-for-all, and from the wide draw, I thought his run was good on the wet track against a seasoned fast-class horse in Captain's Knock. Cam's back driving for Jason Grimson a lot. Cam kept these cards pretty close to his chest when he started losing drives to Jack Callaghan for Grimson. And knowing Cam, I don't think he's going to say a lot, but I'll ask the question and see what response I get. I need to talk with Bernie Hewitt after his double at Albion Park. Both Our Goat and Royal Cruiser are eligible for the Eureka, so I'll see what he's thinking with them and when they will be coming back to New South Wales. Bernie's a good bloke. He had Rip run in the Eureka in the first year of the event, so he knows what it takes to get a horse into the race. And I want to talk to Kristie O'Sullivan today. Now, I mentioned Kristie suffered a freak injury when she got hit in the face by a horseshoe during a race at Wagga a month or so ago. it was great to see her win the Waratah Final at Menangle with Tukaha on Saturday night. I'll talk to Kristie about the injuries she sustained and what actually happened, so it might be best not to be eating your lunch or dinner when I catch up with Kristie. It sounded pretty gruesome when I first heard about it, but I'll let Kristie tell the story a little bit later in the podcast. 3 guests. It's a lot to get through, so let's get straight into it. First up, it's Cam Hart.
Third quarter, 28-3, Wardan Buddy led the way from a Horn Player, and then came Dance and Deliver. Back on the inside is Kanina Provlima, and then came down the outside Major Perry. The leader is Wardan Buddy. He gets to work on it now. Hart still leads by 4 metres on Horn Player, trying its heart out in second spot, but the post beats it, and it's Wardan Buddy too good. Beats Horn Player, third home Major Perry.
We have a bit of a battle on our hands in the State Drivers' Premiership. This time last year, it was Cam Hart and Will Rickson, and I think Will got within a handful of wins to Cam, but then Cam kicked right away, and at the end of the season, Jet Turnbull snuck into second spot. Will was third. This year, Will's in front of Robbie Morris. Cam looks like he's starting to warm to the task, especially with the treble at headquarters last night. Cam's joining me to have a chat. A nice night at Menangle for you, although I get the feeling I was a lot more comfortable watching from the warmth and the dry of my lounge room. Good morning, mate. How are you?
Yeah, morning, Greg. Yeah, going well, thanks. And yeah, it was a little bit of a wet and muddy night there last night, but yeah, everyone got through it quite well, and yeah, it was great racing.
Mate, it is a great wet weather track at Menangle, has been for a number of years. Was there ever any doubt that the meeting would go ahead?
Oh, I had my own doubts a little bit at lunchtime. I was out at Menangle doing a little bit of work in the morning, and it just kept coming, and the rain, and we had a lot of rain and a lot of steady rain as well, so I wasn't sure how the track would hold up, but yeah, full credit to the track staff. They did an incredible job. It was in great order for race 1. I was a little bit surprised how good it was, and it ended up getting through the night really well.
Mate, what about this state premiership? It's going to be a really good race to the finish. I mentioned last year Will got close to you, never got past, but this year you've got a few wins to make up.
Yeah, the boys, every year they're driving great, and I've definitely got to stay on top of my game to try and go with them. And it's a very competitive drivers' room again this year. And probably in previous years I haven't really given it too much thought. I've just gone about my business, and it'll be what it'll be. But hopefully we can have a strong end to the year and compete with those guys that are at the top. Let's
have a chat about your winners last night. Wardan Buddy won the first, and really showed just how good that track was, because you came out and you ran 150.5.
Yeah, exactly right. It's probably a good sign that the track was on still, and he was super impressive. He did work at both ends, and to drop a 26 quarter early, and then on the way home, I couldn't be happier with his performance.
What were the plans going into the race? Did they tell you to really let him go? He was ready to run a super race.
I didn't really ask any instructions for that race, but they just said that he was really well, and he looked incredible, and he looked like he was ready to run a big race, and so I thought it was probably a 3-horse race really, with Brad Hewitt's runner and then Jason's one on the outside of me. So happy to sort of chance my arm a little bit early and use him, and lucky enough was able to get on top and sort of control the race from there.
Now, go Mickey, you won race number 7, another runner for Emma Stewart, and it put a real space in them up the straight.
Yeah, he was super impressive. Geez, he gave me a good feel. He just exploded when I went for him on the corner and just jogged up the straight, and earplugs in, and just felt amazing right on the line, and he's definitely got a bright future. I know Emma and Clayton have had a big opinion of this horse for quite a while, and he's definitely coming into his own.
It's like the little break that they gave him after the Derby in New South Wales has really turned him on, because since then he's unbeaten, and he's got some big margins. I think it's 15 metres, 13 metres, 13 metres. So he's really putting his rivals to the sword.
Yeah, he really is. He's a terrific little horse. There's not much of him. He's a solid little bugger, but probably a little bit of a break, and just let him strengthen up again. And he's definitely come back in super form, and he's definitely, whatever he races in coming up, he's going to be very hard to beat.
You drove him in that Derby series. Does he feel different? Does he feel stronger? Does he feel like he's developed?
Yeah, he probably did a little bit. It just they went a 51 mile last night, and just the way he did it, he was just jogging, and very rarely do you get on a 3-year-old that can sort of feel like that at the end of a 51 mile. So he, raced super in his heat in the derby, and he was probably a fraction disappointing in the final, but they did run some incredible times that night. So, hopefully going forward, he's on the rise.
Mate, you won the last with Bella Danza, driving for Jason Grimson, and she was impressive. When you put your foot to the floor, there was a fair bit in the locker.
Yeah, she gave me a great field. We went through some pretty strong sectionals early, and then, but when I could see Kiss was sort of just dropping off a little bit, not travelling great, I thought it was my time to go. And, when I asked her, she probably won the race there at the, 300, 350 mark, and, just put a bit of a gap on him and felt really good up the straight.
And driving for Grimo. So there's, look, you were never off with Grimo. You were still driving horses, but it looks as though that relationship's back on track.
Yeah, it's going really well. Obviously Jace has been super for my career. We've had nearly won most big races in Australia and New Zealand, and he's been incredible. So it's always great to partner up with Jace, and hopefully there's some more opportunities coming my way.
Have you spoken to him lately about Swayze? What's the latest with the champ?
Yeah, he's back at the barn. He's been there for a while. He's he's sort of fast working now, and I had a steer on him last week, and he felt incredible, and he won't be too far away. He's looking great, and I think he's come back really good.
Okay, we can look forward to that. Mate, Bay of Biscay. Now, this is the horse that's already in the Eureka. He has had a remarkable career already. What did you make of his run last night? It wasn't going to be easy on the wet track, and obviously from that wide draw.
Yeah, I thought he was massive. I was super stoked. Probably went even better than what I thought he could from the draw, and just the race that he was in was a really solid race, and being first up, he hadn't had a run for quite a while, so he's a stallion now and a big boy, so he's probably going to take a couple of runs to be at his peak. But I thought he was super to be sitting outside those horses and still be pretty well there with them at the finish. It's a great sign sort of heading into the Eureka.
There was some debate whether he would go to Melton last night or he'd go to Menangle. Were you aware where he was going, or like if he was going to race at Melton, were you going to make that trip down there? Did discussions ever get that far?
Yeah, I didn't really have any discussions. I've seen he was nominated at both meetings, and I definitely would have been making the trip if the owners and Emma and Clayton wanted me there. I'd definitely be there, but it worked out great for us. And they brought a team up for me anyway. Yeah,
which was nice, and picked up another couple of winners. Mate, what about the Eureka coming up? It's obviously exciting, and he's entitled to favouritism. What do you think of that race coming up?
Oh, it's going to be a terrific race again. I think there's probably going to be a few more 3-year-olds, which will bring, exciting different form lines and things. And, for everyone to sort of work out how they're going to weigh up against the 4-year-olds. But I definitely wouldn't swap my drive. I think, he's just seasoned. He's had some nice, tough racing throughout, his 3-year-old season and now his 4-year-old season. So I definitely think he's deserved favourite, and he probably proved that last night to sort of run like that in a free-for-all grade. So, really happy with where we're at with him.
And I guess when Emma and Clayton say, no, we're going to miss the Miracle Mile, we're going to concentrate on the Eureka later in the year, it must give you a bit of confidence as well, because they could have easily have gone around in the Miracle Mile, but thought, nah, we're going to put him in cotton wool and bring him back for the world's richest harness race. Yeah,
exactly right, Greg. They've done so well to manage the horse. It's hard to knock back $1 million race, and a Miracle Mile, you get to race in them every day, but just with the prize money on offer with the Eureka and the horse he is, I'm sure they've always had that in the back of their mind, and I think hopefully that'll put us in good stead in a month or so's time.
Back in New South Wales after the Queensland winter, will you be back doing all your regular travelling to all the different tracks, or will you stay closer to Sydney?
Yeah, I've been doing a fair bit of travelling the past month. It's just, the drivers are there, and if some of the metropolitan sort of trainers want to head out and try and target a few races around the bush, I'm happy to sort of head out there. But, just poke along here at Menangle and hopefully, start building into the season and coming up to the Eureka, try and get a couple of nice horses for that time of the year.
All right, mate. Well, another 3 winners. Close down that margin on Will. I know you guys are really good mates, but that's going to be a really interesting battle as we work our way through the year. All the best of luck with the Eureka. No doubt we'll talk before then. And congratulations on a good night at Menangle.
Yeah, thanks, Greg.
Third quarter, 28-1, Royal Cruiser. He's starting to extend this lead margin at the turn. 200 metres left to run. Royal Cruiser by 7 metres. Jim RT is second. Battling away, always smoking. Then Speak the Truth, Tim's a trooper. Frankie Ferocious right down the outside. Royal Cruiser. Is this leap to fame out in front? Royal Cruiser. This is brilliant. Royal Cruiser easily beating Jim RT, Frankie Ferocious. Speak the Truth fourth.
Well, the Winter Carnival in Queensland is over. Most of the New South Wales stables are filtering back to the cold weather, and this weekend, unbelievably cold. One trainer who still has a team up north is Bernie Hewitt. He's back in New South Wales, but he had a great night at Albion Park on Saturday, picked up a winning double, and with our attention turning towards the Eureka, I wonder whether that race is now a real possibility with one of Bernie's winners. Let's find out. Bernie's joining me to have a chat. Congratulations on the double, Bern.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. No, they both went really well.
Made the decision to come back to cold New South Wales during the week?
Yeah, well, a couple of the owners are keen to have start 3-year-olds in the Western District Derby heats at Park on Friday night, so I brought them home, but the race didn't stand. The heat went the week before at Dubbo, and it fell over this week, so I think it's been a prelude. They'll get a run anyway in the Derby here, so that's Wednesday week, Greg.
Okay, we can look forward to that. We'll pencil that one in for your stable. Couple of winners in Queensland last night. We'll talk about them as they happen. First of all, our GOAT. I think it's been up there. I think you're up 7 weeks or so. 8 starts now, 4 wins, 2 placings up in Queensland. It's been a great trip for our GOAT.
He's really put his hand up and, showing his qualities. So he's a very versatile horse, and he's had a great little campaign up north. So he's got, brilliant gate speed, and, if he's start up, he's quite lethal off the back of him too. So he's got an all repertoire. Our GOAT. I really like the horse, and he's really taking big steps lately.
Now you've got, ran time too last night, that 150.2. Did that surprise you?
Not really. He's been running around the 51 marks or high 50 marks, so he's been thereabouts, and Nate let him roll along last night, and he really kicked away, and down the back I think he ran 26.8, so and he still finished off with the 27.6, so it's a lot of merit in the run, and to be honest, I wasn't really surprised. He's been in great form.
So what are the plans with our GOAT now? Does he come back to New South Wales?
Yeah, Kat stayed up there with them this week, and our GOAT and Royal Cruiser and Beach Ride will probably all come home now this next week, and at this stage, and then we'll be looking at races in Sydney for them.
Okay, I noticed that Jewel Melody's had the stable change and is now with Gem. Will it stay up in Queensland?
Yeah, well, she stayed up last year when she finished her winter campaign last year. She spelled out up there and went to the stud, and took 2 different embryos off her, and but neither of them held in the donor mares. So she sort of went empty then, and just had a good spell, well deserved spell. So she's just having another campaign up there now. She come in a little bit late, really, but she's having a campaign and then going back to stud. So she'll make her way back down here to stud, and that'll probably finish her up shortly.
Okay, so the no more embryo transfers. She'll be retired.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what Wayne was telling me, that he won't go through that process again with her, and she's done a great job in her career, and she's just had those few runs coming up now, and actually went really well. She run a great race last night to run third to our GOAT, and her fitness level is still building, but we might get another a couple of runs out of her up there, and then she'll go to stud.
I remember having a chat to you about Royal Cruiser before he went to Queensland after he ran 6th behind Kingmaker in a race at Menangle, and I asked you what your plans for in Queensland with him. Were you looking at throwing him into the Inters, what the plans were? You concentrated on the 4-year-old races, and he did a great job, but then last night he's come out and run the hands off the clock. You've got to be really happy with him.
Yeah, for sure. Like he's always had a heap of ability, and things went a little bit wrong for him. He actually broke at the start at Menangle there, going back a couple of months ago. He won a couple in a row down there, and just tried to run the gate off the pole mark there one night, and lost his gate, and he ended up having a pretty tough run. But after that, he just sort of lost a bit of form. Things weren't going right. The horse was still training well, and now, we took him north, and we actually nominated him for the Inters, but because of his form dropping away, he missed the cut, so which was disappointing because I think that would have brought him on, but obviously you don't expect it to beat the real top fella like Leap to Fame, but it would have been nice just to see how he'd fare in that series, but yeah, he's struck form now, and really, showing people what he can do. And Brendan was driving quite aggressive last night. He didn't give anything else a chance, and I think he won by about 20 metres or so. So going 51.9 for the 2100, so he went super. And I think Brendan said last night he was only 0.8 of the second outside Leap to Fame's track record in that run. So that shows where he's up to.
I was watching the race and I saw the quarters go up on the screen. I'm thinking, wow, he must have been kicking the gig, but that wasn't the case. Brendan went out with a plan to really run them along and try and take the sting out of the chasers.
Exactly right. Yeah, he said after the run the week before when he'd run second, I think he did, and he just said, I wish I hadn't have just backed off him in the middle to give him a blow. He said because he was so strong to the line and through the line. He said they just sort of grabbed him when he tried to wind him up again, and so he wasn't giving him a blow last night. He's so strong, he just kept him running, and that's the sort of horse he is, and he's quite lethal off the back of them too if things work out. So, but last night he certainly let him roll along, and he showed him what he could do.
And of course, he's a winner over 2600. He won the consolation of the Derby in Queensland, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, he was in good form up there last year as well. So, he certainly got it there. He's a big boy, and he's finally starting to grow into himself. So, I think, personally, I'm hoping the best is yet to come. So, and we'll certainly be looking at the Inters again next year, and hopefully his form's in the right time frame there to get a run in the Inters next year.
What about short term then? Eureka, would you be keen to get a spot? Like, surely he's done enough now for people to have him on their radar.
I'm sure he would have been. I'm sure he wasn't probably recently, but I'm not sure how many people are still looking for horses to do Eureka. But he's a sort of horse that can really carve out sections, and the form he's in now, I've got no doubt there'll be some interest now coming through because. You want horses that are in form going into those sort of races, not, previous form. So he certainly put his hand up and said he's ready to go now.
Wayne Loader, you train for him. Wayne's got a slot. Will you have a conversation with Wayne to see if he's willing to give Royal Cruiser his slot this year?
I'm sure Wayne would be interested if he hasn't already done a deal. He is working with other interests up in Queensland this winter. So I will speak to Wayne and see where he's up to with his slot, and otherwise, I'm hoping someone else can come along that's looking for a horse that's in form and ready to go, and as I say, got both horses in form, and both I'm sure hold their end up really well, both our Goat and Royal Cruiser.
Mate, you've got to be proud with how the kids are all going. Obviously, Jace is back now driving, and we see the other two up in Queensland, Dougie and also Jem. You've got to be really pumped with how the family's going in the sport.
Yeah, for sure, Greg. Yeah, it's Jem made a move about 3.5 years ago or so, and has established herself up there as a trainer and going really good, and recently bought a property up there. So her and Brendan are really going good and got a lot of horses on their books. And Dougie's been going really well, doing a lot of breaking in up there and a lot of young horse work. And he's just got a new move on the way, so hoping everything works out good for Doug. And Jace is back. He and Grania, his wife, just had 7-8 months overseas in Ireland, and they've been back now for 6 months. And Jace has really settled back in well now, and he's doing all my shoeing work and running the show here as far as the training goes. So it's been really good to have Jace back too.
Mate, what are your long-term plans? Are you well and truly set up in New South Wales? Will you look to move to Queensland at some time to be closer to the other two kids, or is the cold weather getting to you? What are your long-term plans?
Yeah, it's sort of one of those things. Like Pat's got family up there as well as the kids. Like a lot of her side of the family are up there as well these days, and it's been working pretty well. Like we love the climate here, other than the winter time, and we've got a nice property here, and it's set up for what we're doing. So very hard to walk away from what we've done here. So as I said, it's been a big family concern, the whole thing, and with the kids branching out, does make it a bit difficult because there's always the thought of going up there, but it's very hard. And the winters are terrific up there, but the summers aren't that good. I'm not one for the humidity at all. And but anyway, so time will tell, I guess. But at the moment, no, we're happy here, Greg.
Well, mate, congratulations with the winners. Good luck with the team as you get everything back in New South Wales, and all the best of luck with that Eureka, because I think Royal Cruiser well and truly proved last night that he would not be out of place in a race like that.
Yeah, no, that's for sure, Greg. Thanks for that.
Tukaha first into the home running. In second spot, Rebounder. The Greek General steers back to the inside. You Can't Be Serious comes to the outer. And then came Skittle Bomb, but Tukaha with a bit of a kick is travelling strongly. It was travelling strongly down the side of the track and below the 75 has kicked away. You Can't Be Serious is storming home and out wide. Grosso Nasso, but Too Good Tukaha goes all the way to beat You Can't Be Serious. And close up on the outside, Grosso Nasso.
I mentioned Kristie O'Sullivan a few weeks ago on the podcast after she copped some very nasty injuries in a race at Wagga. Most of the time we talk about drivers being injured when they fall out of the sulky and can't finish the race. Well, Kristie finished the race in the sulky, but the damage was done by a flying horseshoe during the race. And to Kristie's credit and pain threshold, she finished that race and then sought treatment. Well, she got a change of luck last night at Menangle when Tukaha, a horse she trains, led all the way to win a Waratah Final, and Kristie is joining me to have a chat. Congratulations on the win, Kristie.
Thanks very much, Hazy.
It must have been finally. You something went your way.
Yeah, especially for that little horse too. He's been racing really well. He's had a lot of he's shown a lot of speed and a lot of ability, but hasn't been able to really be in the right spot to really execute a really nice run. But it all came together for us last night, and it paid off. We were really happy.
Dean Sinofskas did the driving for you, and I assume Dean's given you plenty of support as well since the injury. It was a perfect drive by him.
Yeah, no, look, I'll leave all the driving up to Dino pretty much now, and he, as you said, lots of support from him and Ricky since I've had the injury, but even before that, we worked together as a team all the time, and, but yeah, look, Dean did a terrific job on him last night, but I tend to leave it all up to Dean. I don't give him any instructions or anything apart from, maybe pick up a check or something. That's about it. But no, look, I can't fault them. They've been great to me, and we wouldn't have been there last night if it wasn't for the efforts of Ricky and Dean over the last few weeks. Definitely. The
horse has been ultra consistent of late, without breaking through.
Yeah, he put in some massive runs down at Wagga. That race where I got injured, he was actually 3 deep for the trip and finished third, but put in a massive run. He had a couple of other good runs. He just got caught unlucky at Menangle a couple of times, got caught in the death seat, and he's probably lacks that little bit of toughness. But, in saying that, he didn't disgrace himself. He still finished with the field, or one of those runs he finished fourth. So, yeah, he's been racing really well just without that luck that you said, Hazy.
What are the plans now? What are you looking to do with him?
Well, I've literally just looked up the slate. He's going to go to Mum and Dad's for a week and have a bit of a freshen up. And then we'll come back, and I reckon we'll just keep looking towards Sydney and tagging back for a couple more Monday runs, and then see if we can be competitive on a Saturday night. I think he's got some of that ability there. We just need to. He's his own worst enemy. He's a little bit green still, even after the amount of runs he's had. And he tends to do a few little things that aren't in his favour, but hopefully that's starting to all to come together, and we'll just keep pursuing that line going to Sydney, I reckon.
So take us through what happened when you were injured. You mentioned that Tukaha was in that race. You were driving something else. What were you driving in the race?
Yeah, I was on Donny Mac that day. So I was 3 fence on Donny Mac, and Tukaha, that was the race he sat 3 deep for the trip. Dino tried to restrain him to last, but he wasn't being kind and didn't really want to go back. Anyway, Dan ended up letting him roll forward, and he was out 3 deep, and you wouldn't believe the shoe got dislodged. He's been hitting the wheel a bit and must have dislodged his shoe. Shoe came off, went over another horse in the running line, and then hit me in the face on the fence. So found it tracked to me. It must have, had a destined to meet with my face. But yeah, so I copped that impact and sort of, I didn't see it coming, but I felt it obviously pretty well, and I thought I'd fractured my nose, and then I realised my teeth were a fair way back in my mouth. So look, we finished the race off, we pulled up, and I just sort of flew back across the track and got the ambos to give me a bit of a hand, and then got up to the hospital, and they did some x-rays and CT scans and things. I had a couple of fractures in my upper jaw, and obviously a number of teeth were dislodged, but luckily the gums had held onto them, so the teeth are still in my mouth. It's just going to take a little while to see what the plan will be as far as treatment for those. I'm definitely going to need root canal on 3, possibly 5. But yeah, they're still not quite where they're supposed to be, as you can probably tell by my speech. But anyway, we're getting there. Other than that, injuries are pretty good. Lip was the only thing that was split open, and that's all healed now. So yeah, I'm for an unlucky situation, I'm pretty lucky, Hazy.
Did you have to have any surgery or anything for the jaw, for the breaks in the jaw?
No. Luckily, they were aligned, so they said they would just leave them and let them heal themselves over time. So I've been on a soft diet since then, because I can't put any pressure on those teeth anyway, but also just to help the jaw sit in place and heal up. So yeah, luckily no surgery or anything yet, but all that sort of work will come with my teeth, depending on what the dentist decide to do. Yeah.
Is that going to end your driving career, or are you keen to get back out there?
Look, I'm probably pretty keen. I'll have another drive again at some point, but like I've said before, I'm pretty happy with Dino being able to drive my horses. He's doing a really good job with them. He's studying form and stuff all the time and knows the other drivers and horses better than I do. So, that works for me. And, if I need to, I'll jump on them. But, yeah, look, I'll be out there again at some point, Hazy. Just, probably not as frequently. Yeah.
Where's your setup these days? Are you training horses off your own place, or are you training from a track?
Yeah, no, I'm with Ricky and Dean out at their place at Manton, just near Yass. I've just 12 months ago bought a place down the road from them, but it's only a little 5-acre place, so I'll stay down there and maybe spell a couple of horses at my place, but I'll continue to train the team out of here with Ricky and Dean. Like I said, we all sort of working together and help each other out, so it's just easier to have all the horses in one place. Mm.
And no doubt that it was a nice night for the family last night at Menangle then, when you did get some success for yourself, Ricky and Dean.
Yeah, no, it was pretty good. We're all pretty happy about it. Like, there's plenty of horses here in work, and not all of them are sort of really performing at the moment, but it's nice to get that one win, especially on the way up. Dino and I were thinking the races weren't going to be on with the amount of rain we went through, but to get that win up, all got the spring's back in our step anyway for a little bit.
Look, congratulations. I did want to get you on at some stage to find out about your injuries, and it was a great time, the fact that you won a race, so I thought it would be timely to get you on. Thanks for joining me today, and all the best of luck going forward, and of course with the recovery as well.
Good on you. Thanks so much, Hazy.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Winning. Hey, that's pretty good.
Winner!
That was legitness.
To that I say, all right. Wow, winning.
Bam! Just like that. That's all there is to it, Dustin. That's all there is to it. A winner! Just like that.
And the winner is... Wow, we are both well and truly out of form. Neither of us are winners. Mr. T and I both returned nothing again last week. I'm negative $99. Mr. T is negative $119 for the season. Winter. What can we find and put the kiss of death on this week? He probably tipped the Raiders on Saturday, I'd say, and that's why they lost. Mr. T, he's going to Bathurst on Wednesday. Race 1, number 7, Evelyn's Dragon for Nathan and Jet Turnbull, won its past 2. They were both at Dubbo. Jai Coney drove on both occasions. Jai's birthday today too, I think, so happy birthday, Jai. This one possesses pretty good gate speed, should be right in the finish despite the wide draw, so that's race 1, number 7, Evelyn's Dragon. And race 3, number 4, Guaranteed End for Jason Grimson and Cam Hart. Combination again. Jason and Cam. 2 runs for Grimson the horse has had, and it's failed to place either time. Both at Menangle, looking for something a bit weaker, and they might well have found it. So that's race 3, number 4, Guaranteed End. My 2 both at Menangle Monday. I'm going to go race 2, number 8, Soho Majestic. That looks to be winning. Ran second behind Senses last week. Had a couple of runs back from a break and should be hitting top form and fitness. Despite the wide draw, I think it's the way to go in race 2. That's race 2, number 8, Soho Majestic. And go all the way to the last. Race 8, number 10, El Kima. Now, it's a new one to the Rixon barn. Trialled at Menangle, beat Terry, who rolled off the inside and gave El Kima a gap up the inside, and El Kima finished it off nicely under a hold. Comes from WA. It was racing in some really nice races over there and finds itself in a very weak race first up against some out-of-form paces. Looks really well placed by the Pete Rixon team. Of course, it's one of those 5,000 in the last 5. Hasn't won 5,000 in the last 5. So I'll go with it. Race 8, number 10, El Kima. That just about wraps up the podcast. Thanks to Cam, Bernie, and also Kristie for their time this morning. In saying goodbye this week, I just want to mention the podcast won the Joseph Coulter Media Award for Best Radio Show or Podcast for the Interdominion Review in 2024. Huge thrill for me. I won a HRA award previously when I was at Sky, but to win one with this podcast means so much. So thank you to everyone that downloads each week. And a big thank you to the guys at Harness Racing New South Wales for giving me this platform to talk to you every Sunday. That does wrap up the show. Have a great week, and it's bye for now.